Yeah, it was a baby steps process. It wasn't like I woke up one day and I was like, you know what I want to do? Direct. Like that was never something that I was programmed to say to myself, because I didn't go to film school. I've been on the set of 60 plus music videos, and I've learned a lot from that process, because I've always got my eyes and ears open, and I'm always looking at shots and thinking, I like that one, I don't like that, why and why not? I like that lighting, I don't like that lighting, why and why not? You know, and so you kind of are learning based on your experience, but I had a really, really close creative relationship with Joseph Kahn, who's just like a legend in music videos. He did Toxic by Britney Spears, which is like, just to like give you an example of what we're dealing with. And we made several music videos, and we got to the point where I'd call him up and I'd be like, okay, wrote this song called Look What You Made Me Do. I want to come out of the ground as a zombie, right? We're seeing my hand out of the ground, and then I'm dead. And then I'm in a bathtub of diamonds, and then there's a mountain of me's trying to kill the current me. And he'd be on the phone and be like, yeah, I know exactly what we're doing. Okay, amazing. And so like, that having that relationship where like essentially it got to the point where I was sort of starting to write the treatments to the videos, and I then decided it might be really cool to co-direct and to step into that role. And so you know, I got to co-direct a few videos with incredible collaborators, and I learned what it was like to start, you know, writing in-depth treatments and shot listing and really leaning into it. But when I did it on my own, that was when I really, really learned everything.
Yeah,
because
you have to, I guess.
You have to, and it was so surprising to me, because I didn't really want to turn back after that. I just had so much fun. The first video I directed on my own was a video called The Man. It's weird because I'm prosthetically turned into a dude for the whole video. So this was the first video I ever directed on my own. So if you can imagine me trying to direct child actors while I'm dressed prosthetically as a man. I've got like prosthetic, like rubber, whatever they put on my face, and I'm trying to like talk to little kids about what their action is, and they know something's not quite right, and their mom told them that this is Taylor Swift, but they don't really understand how that could be possible.
You have a beard, and you have a bodysuit on.
It was honestly like, it was incredible. The experience was so wild and wonderful, and I got to work with the incredible Rodrigo Prieto as my DP, which I still can't believe that happened to me, because he's just so incredible. Yeah, and so that happened, and then the pandemic happened, and I ended up directing in the middle of the sourdough early phase of the pandemic, this video called Cardigan, and then I did another one for a song called Willow, and that was when I thought, you know, I feel like I could do more. I feel like I'm ready for more, and so that was when I decided to make the short film for All Too Well.
You also draw from movies for some of the imagery in your films, and there's these great references. The Man reminded me at the beginning, anyhow, Wolf of Wall Street.
Thank you.
Honestly, vibe there
deeply on purpose.
Yeah.
I love that film.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore that film so much. So it's kind of like an homage, you know?
Sure.
People, when you reference things, like, people don't know if you're trolling or if you're like, I love that film. I absolutely love that film.
And
I really
the Bad Blood video is all like futuristic action movie. Like,
it's you know, the espionage. That's a phone call with me and Joseph Kahn where I'm like, what if Selena kicks me out a window and tries to kill me, but I don't die, and then I go to spy school and they all teach me how to fight. And he's like, yeah, there's explosions, and you know. So yeah, that was a blast, and that was kind of like tipping our hat to the kind of spy thriller genre.
Yes. All right, so I want to ask you more about going from the videos that you directed to this one, the short film, because it feels like, just in terms of your creative evolution, there's more ambition here, you're doing more with it, shooting on 35, longer format, there's a whole dramatic, intense scene there, which could have come out of Marriage Story, almost, you know.
It's a water.
It has that
so
kind
cool
of
of you to say that.
emotional intensity. It's raw, like that Noah Baumbach film is. So I want to ask about just putting that film together, particularly the technical side of it. Deciding to shoot on 35 millimeter, deciding on the 1.33 aspect ratio, that kind of old vibe and the richness of those colors and the shallow focus. All of those things are decisions that you made, and I want to know what those decisions were toward. What was the impact you wanted from all of those things?
Well, all the decisions that you make, it's such a beautifully collaborative process. You make decisions, you know, based on your idea as to how you want it to feel, how you want it to look, and then you bring on people you trust. Like, I trust Rena Yang, our DP, implicitly. I absolutely was so lucky to get to work with her, and brought her on early on and showed her my endless mood boards and my references and what I was looking for in terms of lighting and color and texture, and it was pretty apparent that we both wanted to shoot on 35 millimeter. I did not know how to do that.
Sure.
I've never done it before.
People mostly don't do that anymore.
Yeah, and so she's excellent at it, and so, you know, she was the one who was like, I think we should shoot, you know, interiors on Vision 3 500T stock. I think we should shoot the exteriors on Ektachrome because I love the way that the greens are going to pop.
Your film stocks, Dylan.
She taught me a lot. She really taught me a lot, and I never would have known anything at all without her. So, you know, it was also kind of talking about making intentional, purposeful decisions about lighting, warm tones versus cool tones, and how we want her apartment to feel versus his world to feel, and we wanted them to feel very different. And we figured, since we're dealing with a short film, we don't have a lot of time to say much about their identities, so we wanted to make technical, subtle decisions in terms of lighting and set design. We worked with the incredible Ethan Tobin, and one of my favorite references of set design is in The Way We Were. Barbara Streisand plays this character called Katie, and her apartment, when you look at her apartment, that's who she is. It's her interests, it's her politics, it's the books she reads, it's who she is. Yeah. And I wanted, Sadie plays a character named Her. I wanted her apartment to be her. I wanted it to look like who she is. And I wanted the same for his space. You know, clean and cool and minimalist and mature and sophisticated and elegant and sexy, and dark. So
you see that, and sometimes audiences pick that up consciously, but sometimes they're just kind of absorbing it. They don't even know that they're actually understanding more about the character by watching their environment.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I want to ask you about casting Dylan O'Brien and Sadie Sink, and not just each individual actor, but the two of them together. That's important too.
Yes. I don't know if it was a decision. It was what my heart needed for this film. It was a very instinctual decision based on having watched their performances. If I had to assign analytical thought to it, I would say I had never seen either one of them play roles like this before. And I'd seen them just ace anything that was put in front of them, and I just thought, I wonder if Sadie Sink wants to play a romantic lead. I know I haven't seen it yet. I think she's at that perfect point in her career where she could, I think she could absolutely, as the kids would say, eat this up. You know, and basically with Dylan, it was that charisma that I'd seen his films, and I'd seen him, even just him doing an interview, you can see that he's got this just like, you know, this dangerous charm. Like, him as a person, he's not a dangerous, but he's dangerously charming, and that he's just like, that is a power that he has. And so I was looking, I also just, when I write, I really gravitate towards, you know, looking up to writer-directors, because that's the way that I can make sense of writing, and then knowing what shots I want and directing, if I've written it. And then when I was writing it, I just was writing Sadie. Like, I wasn't writing, thinking of any other actress or thinking of a, you know, a generic, you know, beautiful, wide-eyed young person. I was writing it for Sadie, and if she would have said no, I just don't know if I would have made the film, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, and I also just really, really wanted them both to say yes, because I know we have to compromise in life, but I didn't have a backup plan, and I didn't want to compromise. And I was just so happy that they trusted me and that they believed in me. And I was a first-time short film director, and I couldn't believe that they wanted to do it. I still can't believe that anybody wanted to do this with me. I'm so happy about it.
Well, you delivered. Right?
Thank you for saying that.
Did you screen test them together or rehearse with them together?
No. I texted Dylan the longest text you've ever seen. Like, it was when I read it back, I was like, that was too much. And straight up, like, reached out to Sadie's team, and we're just like, we want to make something. You know, I think was it a text or a call? Long text and then a call. It was, you know, I was just like, please, like, I wasn't trying to be cool at all.
No chill.
I was like, I promise, no one will work harder to make this good than me. Like, I don't know if I went that far, but I was just, I mean, I think they were amazing. They didn't need to be convinced in a way that I was able to pick up on. So I was so happy, because you want to make things with people who are excited to make things with you. I don't really do that well with people who are like, I'm not sure about you, prove it. Like, I'm okay, I will, but that's not as fun. Like, if I have to do it, I will prove it. But it would be so much better if you just really wanted to make stuff with us.
Yeah.
And so that's what we were lucky enough to have.
All of the evolution we've been talking about, from beginning to contribute to and collaborate on music videos to making your own short films, and this one, particularly recently, it's coincided with you taking back control of your music.
Yeah.
Which we've all been following.
I really appreciate you saying that, but if you're new to this saga, what Cameron's referencing is that basically, I started out on an indie record label I signed when I was a teenager, and I had always had the hope, desire, and dream of buying back my master recordings for my first 6 albums when it came time when my record deal was fulfilled. When my deal was done, that didn't happen. My music was all sold to an outside party, and yeah. But basically, what happened was like a period of like extreme despair for me, and then I came out of that and said to myself, if I made that music the first time, I can make it a second time. And it was so exciting, honestly, to get to do something that I haven't really seen done in the music industry in this particular way.
Stroke of genius.
That is so nice. That is so nice. And so basically, we treat them like they're big releases. Like we do a whole album. We redo the entire photo shoot. You know, we make music videos, and sometimes we make a short film. And so it's really been, honestly, insanely beautiful, because you have like, you know, my friend's daughter is like 12, and her friends were saying like, oh, like we love this new Taylor Swift song that just came out called "You Belong with Me." And I was like, who's gonna tell her? No, like, don't tell her. That's a really old song that came out in like 2008 or something. So it's really been an amazing opportunity to revisit my old music, make exact copies of the old music. And what I also do now is there were a lot of songs that I wrote that didn't end up on the album, so we call those songs from the vault tracks. So I record them, I put them out, so it's been really wonderful, and it's only been possible because the fans actually want this to happen. I can't believe that too. Like, that's amazing that you guys have been so wonderful about it. But basically, this song, All Too Well, the 10-minute version, has a very long story. It is a story about as long as the song, but I'll try to make it shorter. This was a song that originally was released on an album called Red in 2012. Thank you so much. You guys are great. And it was a song that I loved so much, but it was never chosen by, an A&R team in a conference room as being a single. Nobody saw the potential in it except for the fans, who loved it so much that they made it sort of their favorite song on that album. For me, the song was so tough because it was about something that at that point was very current for me. I would have a really hard time performing it at the time. Like, I had to really force myself to focus on other things to try to get through it during the tour. So there would be no world in which I could have made a visual element to that song at that point in time. I needed 10 years of sort of retrospect in order to know what I would even make to tell a version of that story visually. And I'm so grateful that I was able to do that with some crazy stroke of all these different twists of fate. Can't believe it.
Do you make a connection between coming to the point where you can create your own images and owning your own music? What's the connection?
I think it's very connected, and not in a way that was conscious, but I think in a way where, hopefully the more years you live, the more things you learn, and you hope that you get braver as time goes on. And I've been very lucky to, when I've taken these baby steps creatively, I've been very lucky to have people go like, no, go further, it's great, keep going, it's, and I think I would have really tried to keep expanding creatively even if I had been squashed the first time I tried to make something. But it was really beautiful that we're in a place where hearing the idea of a female filmmaker doesn't make you roll your eyes or think as skeptically as it once was, and we have, so many incredible female filmmakers to thank for that.
A lot of them here at the festival.
Absolutely. And I just feel really grateful. You think about people like Nora Ephron, who, there's people who paved the path, and then there's Nora Ephron, in the forest with a machete, just hacking, to where the path will be paved. And I think about writer-directors like that who inspired the writer-directors who inspired me. It's I think about people like that all the time.
I want to go to actually a question we have from somebody on Twitter. We've got a few questions from social media.
Love.
Because it's related. This is at Long Story Swift on Twitter.
Excellent.
And they ask, pretty
Solid.
good handle, yeah. I loved your shout out to female directors at the VMAs. Are there any female directors in particular that inspired your vision for this film?
Oh, definitely. Like I said, Nora Ephron as a writer-director. I love Chloe Zhao. I love Greta Gerwig. I love Lena Dunham. There are so many people that I absolutely adore who are making films in such brave, bold, inspiring ways. And they're women that I just look up to and admire, and have sometimes been lucky enough to be in a room with, or Lena is always there for me if I have a question, and just such a good friend.
And she's got a new film here at the
yes,
festival as well.
Yes, she does! I've seen it, it's so good.
It's called Birdie.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And a nice departure for her as well.
Yes.
It's set way, way in the past, and it's also hilarious.
It's one of my favorite things she's ever done,
yes.
so go see it.
Another question, also from Twitter, from @WildflowerHoax. And they're asking, tell us about the lighting in All Too Well, the short film. what was the significance and the contrast between warm and cold? Talk a little bit about that.
It's really good to be asked this question.
And this person says, I've seen dozens of theories, but would love to hear the intent behind it.
So, I really wanted this. I had a few overarching goals with the lighting and, you know, just sort of the coloring and everything. I really wanted this short film to feel like autumn. And not the entire time you're watching it, but in your memory. I referenced the film Love Story from like 1970 earlier, and when I think of that film, I think of autumn. I just do. Right. And so I was trying to, I think, establish that in the earlier parts of the short film. And like when they're falling in love, I wanted that to feel warmer. And when we're in his world, his apartment, I wanted it to feel cooler. And then when Sadie goes into her periods of despair and reeling, I wanted her world to become cooler. And then in the end, when we see her grown up, I wanted it to be a bit of a combination of both, almost to symbolize that she is still herself, but she has been changed by this experience. And I wanted that to make us both happy and sad at the same time. But I think that it's also important when you think about the worlds that you're creating. Like, we were working within the framework of chapters. We had this amazing typography studio called Fraser Mugridge do these bespoke chapter title cards, and those were there because I wanted you to realize in the end that that these are chapters of Sadie's character's book. So when you see the chapters like "Are You Real?" and the first crack in the glass, you realize in the end that
this is the story she's telling about her.
Yes, this is her reflecting back, and these are chapters of her book, and these are the things that you're seeing taking place that you would read about in the book that she was writing. So we wanted there to be sort of like we wanted her to seem a little bit changed in the end, even with the set design. The house where she lives in the end looks a little bit more like where he lived.
Okay.
Than where she was before.
So she has actually taken something from that relationship.
Yeah, good and bad.
Yeah, interesting. There's another element in the film that there are a lot of theories about, which is that red scarf.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the red scarf? Because there must have been a lot of decisions that went into exactly
what can I tell you is the question. Basically, you stop it. Stop it. Basically, the scarf is a metaphor, and we turned it red because red is a very important color in this album, which is called Red. And I think when I say it's a metaphor, I'm just gonna stop. And I'm going to say thanks for the incredible question to whoever asked it. You've really taken us for a ride with that one. Thank you.
Scarf question was mine, actually.
Thanks, at Cameron Bailey. Thank you.
All right, but I am going to go back to, this time, TikTok.
Yes.
Zara on TikTok is asking, are there any other genres within filmmaking that you'd be eager to pursue?
Ooh. It's a good suggestion. I think I will always want to tell human stories about human emotion. I never say never, but I can't imagine myself like filming an action sequence. It's just for me, like if it happens one day, honestly, like that'll be funny character growth. But at this point, I want to, I could see it going. I could see it going in a more comedic, irreverent place. I could see it being a little bit, I don't always see myself telling stories about extreme guttural heartbreak at your most formative age that really sort of, debilitates you emotionally for years, and then you have to like develop the scar tissue in order to move on with your life. And then limp your way to your typewriter and write a novel about it because you're still,
Yeah, you can't keep doing that.
No,
it's going to be painful.
I think I've done that.
Yeah.
So I would love to. I mean, I'd love to keep taking baby steps forward, and I think that I'm at a place now where like the next baby step is like not a baby step. It would be committing to making a film, and I feel like I would just absolutely love for the right opportunity to arise, because I absolutely adore telling stories this way.
That's where I was going as well. Feature film's got to be that.
If it were the right thing, it would be such a privilege and an honor. And I also just do want to say that I'm aware of the fact that I'm in an incredibly privileged place to have gotten to finance this short film independently. Because when we talk about female filmmakers, I am one of them, but I also realize that there are people who are working so hard to get financing and to get any type of budget together to make the productions that they and the projects that they want to make. So I honestly like bow down and tip my hat to those female filmmakers.